Have you ever experienced a coincidence so absurd that it left you speechless? Imagine being on the other side of the world and suddenly running into a childhood friend. Or opening a random book and finding exactly the answer to a question that has been haunting you. Coincidences like these feel magical, almost as if the universe is sending us signs. But is there something more than chance behind these moments? The idea that certain events are predestined is as old as humanity itself. Ancient cultures saw unexpected encounters as manifestations of fate, an invisible thread weaving our stories together. On the other hand, modern science shows us that randomness governs much of what happens. But if everything is just chance, why do some coincidences feel so meaningful? Our brains are wired to find patterns. We connect dots that may not actually be linked, seeing meaning in chaos. But if coincidences are just an illusion created by our minds, how do we explain cases where a series of improbable events unfolds in an almost impossible way? In this video, we'll explore the fascinating balance between chance and destiny. Are we truly in control of our lives, or is there something greater at play? By the end, you might start seeing your own coincidences in an entirely new light. If coincidences happen all the time, are they really that improbable? The truth is, we live in a world where billions of events occur simultaneously, creating countless opportunities for unexpected encounters. Mathematician David Hand describes this as the law of the improbable, which suggests that seemingly impossible events are actually inevitable when we consider the vast number of possibilities in daily life. Think about this. If you meet someone who shares your exact birthday, it might seem like an astonishing coincidence. But statistically, in a group of just 23 people, there is a 50% chance that 2 of them will have the same birthday. Our mistake is assuming that rare events shouldn't happen, when in reality, the sheer number of interactions around us makes certain coincidences almost guaranteed. Another key factor is how we perceive these events. When something unexpected happens, we focus on that single moment while ignoring all the times similar things didn't occur. If you dream about someone and they call you the next day, it feels mystical. But what about all the times you dreamed of someone and nothing happened? Life is a tangled web of chaotic interactions. What seems like luck or destiny may simply be a reflection of the infinite combinations of factors surrounding us. But if everything can be explained by probability, why do some coincidences still feel deeply significant? Our brains are masters at finding patterns. Since the dawn of humanity, this ability has been essential for survival. Recognizing faces in the forest or detecting signs of danger in the environment gave us an evolutionary advantage. Today, this same tendency makes us see connections in random events, turning coincidences into something that seems full of meaning. This phenomenon has a name: pareidolia. It's what makes us see shapes in clouds or faces in everyday objects. But pareidolia isn't limited to vision. It also affects how we interpret events. If you hear a song, and later that day someone randomly mentions it, your brain registers it as a meaningful event, when in reality, it could just be a coincidence. Additionally, we suffer from confirmation bias. When we believe something has meaning, we start looking for evidence that reinforces that belief. If you think a certain number brings you luck, every time it appears, you confirm your idea, while ignoring all the times it had no impact at all. This bias makes us connect dots that may not actually be linked. But what about those moments when a small event triggers a chain reaction that truly changes someone's life? The butterfly effect suggests that tiny actions can lead to unpredictable consequences. If everything can be explained by probability and mental illusions, is there still room for destiny? If everything is just chance and patterns created by the brain, do our choices really matter? Or are we simply following a script that has already been written? The debate between destiny and free will has existed for centuries. Some philosophical perspectives argue that everything that happens is the result of prior causes, making the future inevitable. Others believe that we have control over our decisions, and can shape what lies ahead. Neuroscience has introduced an intriguing twist to this discussion. In the 1980s, Benjamin Libet conducted an experiment showing that our brains decide to act before we are even aware of making a decision. This raises a fascinating question. Are we truly choosing something freely? Or are we merely reacting to unconscious impulses? If our choices are already being processed before we consciously register them, where does free will come into play? On the other hand, even if our brains operate through patterns and impulses, we still have the ability to reflect and change our course. We can make conscious decisions that go against our instincts or predicted behaviors. This suggests that, although randomness and external factors influence our lives, we do have some level of autonomy to interpret and respond to these events. What if destiny and free will are not opposites? Maybe coincidences are just probabilities at work, but that doesn't mean we can't assign meaning to them. If we take an unexpected encounter as a sign to change our lives, that transformation is real, whether it was predestined or not. Randomness may introduce us to new paths, but ultimately, it's up to us to decide which one to follow. If everything is a game between chance and choice, how can we find meaning in the unexpected? If life is a balance between chance and choice, how do we deal with uncertainty? For many, the search for meaning is what gives life direction. But what if, instead of trying to find a fixed purpose, we learn to embrace the unpredictable? Nihilism argues that the universe owes us no predefined meaning. However, that doesn't mean our lives have to be empty. Philosophies like optimistic nihilism suggest that by accepting the absence of a universal purpose, we gain the freedom to create our own. In other words, it doesn't matter if a coincidence is just a random event or a sign from destiny. What matters is how we choose to respond to it. When we see the unexpected as an opportunity, instead of a mystery to be solved, we turn randomness into growth. The stories of great thinkers and artists show how chance events can change lives. Steve Jobs, for example, took a calligraphy class purely out of curiosity. Years later, that knowledge became essential in designing the typography of the first Mac. He had no idea that his casual decision would have such an impact. But by embracing his curiosity, he turned a small detail into something revolutionary. The unknown can be frightening, but it can also be liberating. When we accept that not everything needs a grand reason, we start living with more ease. The secret is not in trying to predict the future, but in being open to what it has in store for us. If coincidences are inevitable and randomness is beyond our control, how can we find joy in these unexpected moments? If coincidences are inevitable and randomness surrounds us, why not learn to make the most of it? Instead of seeking absolute control over life, we can develop a mindset of openness and curiosity. Many of the best opportunities arise in unexpected moments. When we stop resisting the natural flow of events, the key to living with more ease is learning to trust the process. This doesn't mean believing that everything has a hidden purpose, but rather understanding that, whether coincidences are random or meaningful, we can still use them to our advantage. Some of the biggest changes in life often begin with small encounters or seemingly trivial decisions that, at the time, felt insignificant. Inspiring stories show that people who allow themselves to find meaning in the unexpected often discover joy and purpose. Not because the universe is conspiring in their favor, but because their attitude toward randomness transforms the way they experience life. Small moments can hold great lessons, if we are willing to notice them. In the end, it doesn't matter whether everything is chance or destiny. What truly matters is how we choose to react. After all, what if the greatest coincidence of all is simply being here right now? Life is a web of unexpected events, chance encounters, and seemingly trivial decisions that shape our journey. Coincidences might just be probabilities at work, or perhaps they are echoes of something greater. But in the end, the meaning is up to us. Whether by chance or destiny, what truly matters is being open to the surprises life brings. We may not control everything, but we do have the power to find meaning in the smallest moments. Now, think about it. What is the most incredible coincidence that has ever happened to you? Maybe it was more significant than you realized.